Hello friends, this is Gerry from the distant future, and you are about to watch a re-upload of a video that I did back in 2022. If you're just trying to get to the demo and the review of the plugin, you can skip to this timecode right here. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Black Salt Audio and how I got the job as their content creator. So back in 2022, I had moved to Albany, New York, and I was in need of a job. Thankfully, I really lucked out because it was right then and there that Black Salt Audio put out their PSA through an email blast that they were looking for a content creator. So I reached out, and essentially what they wanted in return was a full demo of their BSA Clipper plugin as sort of my interview or my audition, if you will. So thankfully, I did a good enough job that they did hire me as their content creator and opened up lots of wonderful opportunities. So I got to make lots of great content and try out lots of great plugins from the team over at BSA, Jordan and Sean and everyone else. It was just a really great time, and I'm really thankful for it. And at the end, I'm going to link a playlist to their YouTube channel of all of the different demos that I did for them. Again, thank you to the entire BSA team for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Go over to their YouTube channel, check out the playlist at the end of this video, and I hope you enjoy the demo. Hi, my name is Gerry, and today we're going to be checking a Clipper from Black Salt Audio. Black Salt Audio is a relatively new company, launching back in 2021 by Jordan Valeriot, who has undoubtedly mixed one of your favorite records. This company aims to bring Jordan's knowledge and experience into simple and easy to use plugins to bring your mixes to the next level. I love the approach. These plugins are very streamlined with simple UIs. Typically, if I have a lot of options in front of me with a ton of knobs to tweak, I tend to get very overwhelmed and I lose all inspiration like immediately. While there is a fair bit of knowledge involved with mixing, obviously, the creative aspect of it all is huge for me. We should be spending our time making the best mix that we can while also having fun with it and not bogging ourselves down with the technicality of it all. With that being said, let's jump into Pro Tools and take a closer look. Alright, so this is my song, Emotep, from my EP, Great Unknown, and let's just give it a quick listen. Cool, so it's already sounding pretty good, I think, and the mix isn't jumping around too much. I'd be comfortable with sending this off for mastering, honestly. But if we take a look at our master bus, you can still see that there's still a little bit of room to control some of that transient information, especially if I plan to do some limiting myself down the line. So yeah, we can see that it's jumping around a little bit, but we're going to focus on three areas to control this: the snare, the entire drum bus, and the entire master bus. Now, mixing drums can be tricky, and specifically the snare, since the snare drum by nature is just one big spiky transient with not a whole lot of dynamic range. This can lead to potential problems down the line, especially when it comes time to limit for the master. We could use things like compression and mess with the actual levels themselves, but the goal is to control that transient information without losing any volume, punch, or attack. Cool, so let's load up Clipper onto our snare bus. And right off the bat, you can see just how intuitive it really is. You have two controls. This fader adjusts the Clipper threshold, and this adjusts the input gain, and that's it. It's simple, and I like it. These tracks were originally programmed drums that were printed down after the fact, but the snare bus is housing a snare top track, snare bottom, and a snare room sample. So right there, we already have a lot of transient action going on, but we can use BSA Clipper to control that. I'm going to skip ahead to the breakdown section of the song so that we can more easily see our metering since the snare hits are more spaced out then. Alright, let's give it a listen with Clipper bypassed. Okay, so we can see that our snare is living around the -6, -7 dB area. So let's mess with BSA Clipper and see if we can bring it down any. So as you can see, we brought it down to about -9, -10 dB without losing any perceived volume. And because we're technically clipping the signal, we're adding even more punch and attack without having to add any additional EQ. If we take a look at our drum bus, we can also check out what kind of reduction we're getting. So bypass, we can see that again, we're around the -7 dB area and engaged around -10. And we're getting a more consistent level at that. Might seem like a small difference, but a little goes a long way, especially when we get into the limiting stage. Speaking of the drum bus, let's load some BSA clipper onto that and see what we can get out of it. I'm going to leave the clipper that we put on the snare bus on the whole time. Again, we've managed to control the level and add a bit more bite without destroying the drum mix. Let's go even further and add BSA clipper to the master bus. Again, I'm leaving BSA clipper that I put on the snare bus and the drum bus on. Awesome. So not only have we controlled a lot of our transient information, but our mix now has more bite and punch without having to resort to squashing those individual buses with limiting and such. Let's take a listen to the mix with all instances of BSA clipper bypassed and engaged. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the intro of the song. Okay, so here's where all of that can really come into play. Are you ready? Now that we've controlled all of that transient information, we can now load a limiter onto our master bus without having it to do too much work and destroy our mix. So let's bypass BSA clipper on our snare bus, drum bus, and master bus, and go for a dummy loud master at around -9 LUFS. For this example, I'm not adhering to the mastering standards for streaming, so do this at your own risk. Okay, so you can see that the limiter is having to do upwards of -5 dB of gain reduction on those snare hits. I mean, that's not terrible since this mix was already somewhat undynamic from when we started, and that might be desirable for some depending on the sound that you're going for, but look at all the headroom that we get back when we engage BSA clipper on all of our buses. Look at how easily we were able to get a crazy loud master without having to make the limiter do a lot of heavy lifting. I was even able to bring down some of the gain. Let's take a listen to the song with the limiter on and with and without BSA clipper on all of our buses. Listen to how much of the drum information is retained. That's good enough for my house. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. What do you guys think about clippers and how do you use them in your mixes? Let me know in the comments below. For more mix tutorials, guitar videos, and covers, head over to my channel, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.